There is something happening in the heavyweight division from the UK side of the world. And as Fabio Wardley takes on Clarke, a new battle for future rights is on the horizon when these two men meet up March 31st. Let's talk about Wardley versus Clarke. If you look closely at the heavyweight division and what is being offered coming out of the UK, you're able to see that there has been a shift in the paradigm of talent and power in the division. And this is not by mistake. Coming up March 31st at the O2 Arena in London, Fabio Wardley is going to take on Clarke in a fight for the British and Commonwealth heavyweight titles. But these are two young men who are just beyond the prospect stage and have entered into perennial contention. And perennial contention simply means that it is on the outskirts, the outer realm of top contendership in the division of boxing. As Wardley is bringing his record of 17-0 with 16 KOs in against Clarke's 8-0 record with 6 KOs, these two men are stepping up to face one another early enough in their careers where even if one or the other takes a loss, what will happen is it will define who's really prepared to take that next step, and it's still early enough in the career of one of the fighters to go back to the drawing board to work on what may be necessary to go further. Now, when you talk about Clarke, he's the elder statesman between the two. Clarke is coming in and he is a fighter that is 32 years of age, and with approximately 95 amateur bouts under his feet, he brings that type of experience of being familiar in the ring. Clarke is a big man. He's 6'6" and 250 plus pounds. He is the type of fighter that is quite the norm amongst the giants in the heavyweight division of today. He's more of a plodder, ham-fisted fighter, but he is courageous. He has spirit, and he goes in there. They call him the eraser, or big phrase. And I believe the reason that they want to take this fight against Wardley is because of that extensive amateur background, as opposed to Wardley, who really has no amateur experience at all and has learned on the job professionally. Wardley, who is 29 and is the champion at this time, has been brought along and placed in fights. I've seen a couple of his matches that looked like the stoppages were premature. He didn't look like he really finished the opponent, and the official, the referee, the chief of the ring, he stopped the fight. However, there is something that I looked at in Wardley that reminds me of an American fighter who was both an amateur and pro, and that is Tyrell Biggs. Not saying that he looks like Biggs or even fights with Biggs' style, but there is something familiar about him in the way he fights, and that he also has spirit. Wardley has grown in confidence, particularly his recent fight and win in October of 2023 against David Adelaide, a fight where there was some kind of melee during the press lead up where he suffered a cut, and the two men went in with true bad blood against one another. But he prevailed. He stopped Adelaide in 7 rounds. And Adelaide didn't win 1 round. Clarke is going to enter this fight and challenge the best that he can. But if he's thinking that his physical prowess is what's going to get it done, he better revert back to his experience as a boxer and as an overall fighter. There's something about Wardley that shows me that he has a little bit more going on. And as far as the American fighters who are in that perennial stage or prospect stage, these two men are excelling way ahead, because what they show is the courage to want to face the opposition early. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it builds you. It builds your character. It builds toward where you may want to go with your career in the future. Instead of fighting a number of stiffs, they stand stiffly in contention. And that's why I favor Wardley in this fight for taking on Big Fraze, because he's at a point now where he feels that he is truly one who is ready to take that next step in the division and be a world title contending fighter. And that means everything. Fraze, it may be a little soon for him, even though he's the elder guy and the least experienced professionally. The 17 fights that Wardley had are not to be miscounted at all. Being a pro is different from being an amateur. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the Mike, LDBC, and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think and who's going to prevail in this clash of young heavyweights from the UK. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.